Welcome back, everybody. This is Friday, and we're pretty glad it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Are you glad it's Friday, Ed?
And it's the first Friday in 2019.
It's the first Friday of 2019, you don't say.
Yeah, very first one. Not the last
exciting.
one.
No, thank God.
Maybe
it's not the last
you
one.
You know who didn't make the first Friday?
Who?
I just saw who passed away was the guy that played Funkhauser on Curb Your Enthusiasm. The tall guy who played Marty Funkhauser. I don't know his real name.
Okay.
Anyway,
poor bastard. Don't know him.
Anyway, premature. Funny guy.
Funny guy. Funny motherfucker. Anyways, so today we've got a few interesting items. You know, the first guy we're going to have on the show today is we're going to have by Skype, and his name is Hess Moallem from Charlotte's Web Holdings.
That's hanging in there extremely well.
Well, it's hanging in there.
Not hanging in there. It's right.
You could have made money off of that a million times. Full disclosure, I do own a tidy little package of shares there.
Really?
So, yes, I did. I'm fortunate enough to be invited into the president's list.
At what price?
$7.
Maybe time to extricate.
Lighten up? I would if I didn't think it was going higher.
I know, but just because you think it's higher doesn't mean it will.
But if I sell for now, then I'm definitely not going to reap the benefits of a potential higher.
Okay.
The question is, do I need the money right now? And is there any reason to think it's going to go lower? I mean,
you know what?
The enthusiasm that's just unfolding here in this, now that
this action today in the S&P is epic.
Epic.
Yeah. Yesterday the world was falling apart.
Wow.
Well, look, we talked about commodity prices getting hammered. We talked about the S&P looking like it's going further south. Interest rates were falling off a cliff.
Well, on a macro basis, but I wasn't implying that that's all going to happen today. I was saying that's the way the world seems to be heading in 2019 generally. Shorter term, the fact that the Democrats are able to put forward legislation that's going to get the government back to work without funding the morons' border wall, that's just proof positive, and the market responded accordingly. It's demonstrated that the irrelevant president can be, in fact, marginalized and removed from any relevance whatsoever.
Right. I'm a more apolitical, and when I think about the Democrats running the show, I'm not so happy.
Well, it's just two brands of the same stupidity.
Yeah. But that's apolitical.
And then after we talked to Hess, we're going to have Dmitry Zaytsev is going to be here, our young analyst.
He's got always some good things to say.
He's always got some things to say. A bit of a bear. He's from Russia. He's always got a bit of a bearish sort of predisposition, but that's okay. We're going to take some viewer questions around 3:45, and then the market's going to close, and our heads are going to go like this as we go down.
What's the German word for bear?
Bear? Schweinefleischen.
I think it's Ursa. Like Ursa Major, Ursa Minor, a little bit of...
Oso in Spanish, I know that.
Oso.
And
Sal.
Sal is a female beer.
Yeah. Beer.
Boy, this.
I think we should start having drinks on Friday afternoon.
Negroni Fridays.
Negroni Fridays.
Oof.
Oh, I thought they were Agronis.
Agronis? No, they're Negronis. What do you got?
Water.
I have tea.
Well, it's the volatility is mind-boggling.
It's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah. We have news, and it's not by Ricky Gerwitz. I don't know who it is, but I'm pretty sure it can't be Ricky because she wasn't here today, but here's the news.
Thanks, and this is what's moving markets today. Fincanna Capital Corp announced its intention to raise 1.5 million Canadian by way of secured convertible debentures. The debenture is convertible into common shares at 20 cents per share. The company said subscribers for debentures will receive one common share purchase warrant for each 20 cents of principal amount of debenture. Also, each warrant will entitle the holder to acquire one common share of Fincanna for 30 cents at any time up to 2 years from the closing date. Fincanna says it will use the net proceeds from the convertible debenture to fund additional royalty investment opportunities and the company's ongoing working capital and general corporate purposes. Today, Tilt Holdings, Inc. announced the appointment of David Kaluuya as Chief Financial Officer effective January 7th, 2019. This appointment has been ratified by the Board of Directors and is subject to approval by the Canadian Securities Exchange. Mr. Kaluuya joins Tilt having spent the first 16 years of his career at GE in finance and operations. The Yield Growth Corp is engaged in Canco Cannabis Consultants to help with the development of plans for a micro-processing license, a research license, and a medical sales license under the Cannabis Act for Yield Growth and its subsidiaries. Yield Growth says these licenses would allow it to be able to legally infuse its full line of wellness products with cannabinoids, including, in particular, CBD and THC, and sell them in Canada. Soyuz Cannabis Inc. has announced that their submission to list its common shares on the Canadian Securities Exchange is in the review stage with the CSE. Curaleaf Holdings Inc. opened its 4th dispensary in New York State today. This new location will be the company's 36th dispensary. Auxly Cannabis Group Inc. have appointed Genevieve Young and Jean-Paul Gaillard as independent members of its board of directors effective immediately. And Next Green Wave Holdings Inc. says it's obtained all necessary state and local licenses for its Site A production facility in Coalinga, California. The newly issued licenses will allow Next Green Wave to carry out all of its seed-to-sale operations in the state of California. The company is expected to move into full operation in 2019. Sunniva Inc. has secured more than $2.4 million US in future sales of Sunniva branded cannabis products through one of its company's existing retail relationships to be completed in the first 4 months of 2019. This marks Sunniva's first cannabis product sales in the state of California. Sunniva's current product inventory consists of cannabis distillate, premium concentrates, and flower, with a current estimated value in excess of $5 million US. The company expects to launch additional Sunniva branded product lines during the first quarter of 2019. And that's your news today. Have a great weekend.
Well, there's the news, Edward.
Lots going on.
Lots going on. Pretty good news out there. Well, actually, it doesn't matter. Have you noticed that the markets are starting to act in a way that's independent of any real macro news sort of item? I mean, apart from the Democrats sorting out their legislation to get the government back open in the South, it's kind of like, well, that's it? You know, shouldn't the markets be tanking quite a bit more significantly on the fact that Apple's lost 35% of its value in the last few sessions?
But maybe that's what drove it from way up there to back to here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how do you ever know what's built into the cake already?
Well, that's a good point.
So that's where I'm at.
Our next guest is the CEO of Charlotte's Web Holdings, trading on the CSE under the symbol CWEB. Hess Moallem has been the Chief Financial Officer, or rather the Chief Executive Officer, since taking over from Eugenio Mendez. Oh no, sorry, that's not quite correct. Anyways, Hess, are you there?
I am. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's good to talk to you. You know, this is I'd say Charlotte's Web is one of the stocks that I hold that I have never sold a share of, nor even really looked to yet. So happy to have you on the show. Why don't you give our audience a background of what Charlotte's Web is all about, and just for those who might not have heard of the company.
Sure. We're a vertically integrated supplier, manufacturer of CBD products, hemp extract products that include CBD. We have been operating since 2014, when hemp became legal or differentiated from marijuana post the 2014 Farm Bill. And we are currently the category leader. And we're very excited for the future. We listed on the CSE in August, and the sky's the limit at this point.
Yeah, right on. You reported Q3 revenue of $17.7 million, an increase of 57%. That's all from the sale of CBD products in the United States, correct?
It's correct, yes. The majority of our products, I'd say, over 90%, 97% are sold in the United States. And so this is our market. This is really our focus. And I think everybody agrees the United States market is really where the focus is for the products that are health and wellness focused to be sold.
Sure. Is the CBD that you sell in the United States derived exclusively from hemp plants containing a THC content of below 0.3%?
Absolutely. So we only use hemp. We grow everything ourselves or through contract farmers. Those are controlled through our processes, SOPs, and protocols. And we create our own seeds. So we really have control throughout the process. We know what our plants do in terms of performance in the field. We know where the THC limits are, and we're very cautious about making sure that they're indeed industrial hemp.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and what are your clients buying Charlotte's Web oil products for? What do they use them for?
Yeah, so anecdotally, we've heard that the top three uses of our product are number one is stress, occasional stress. Number two is sleep. And number three is occasional inflammation that our products are sold for. We really see massive opportunity there. I think that particularly the first one, occasional stress, is something that everybody deals with. And so our products work well for that.
Yeah, you bet. There's no such thing as recreational CBD, is there?
That's correct. The recreational and medicinal don't apply to us. And oftentimes people ask us, are you recreational or are you medicinal? And we're neither. We're wellness. And that's who we are. We're a health and wellness company.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Hess, how much cash are you sitting on right now?
Currently, we're in the range of 70 million. It's something that keeps us better capitalized than the rest of our competitors in the space. And it's something that we look forward to deploying using some of our strategies that we've been working on here in the last 60 months.
Mm-hmm. So then, is the strategy for Charlotte's Web to dominate the wellness category exclusively in hemp-derived CBD products in the United States exclusively? Is that your sole focus, or are there other anticipated business expansions, business lines in development?
Well, I'll speak to those separately. So first, international expansion is absolutely something that we're looking into. We've been working in Western Europe for quite some time and really setting up supply chain, understanding the regulatory framework there, and look forward to making some announcements in 2019. In terms of actual business line, what are we doing? Is it wellness? Is it dietary supplement? Is it food? We have a lot of considerations internally, and I would say the most profound one is wellness, because I think that's something that is a category that neither recreational or medicinal marijuana touch, and that's an opportunity for us. Outside of that, we see opportunity in beverage, of course. That's been a big discussion. There are some opportunities in food, and we're exploring. We're very cautious, thoughtful about how we approach those categories.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. The proliferation of CBD as an ingredient in the United States as a direct result of the expanded ability of farmers to now plant hemp pretty much continental USA wide without any fear of repercussion legally. Is that going to make it more challenging for Charlotte's Web going forward to extract and develop products profitably, or is it not that much of a concern?
I think that's not that much of a concern. I think that's something that is actually something that opens markets for us. So now we get access to more farmland and more opportunity, which allows us to really look at our cost structure and be deliberate about how we're driving forward and managing our cost of production.
Mm-hmm. Does the current legal framework in the United States give you the opportunity to import hemp-derived CBD from outside of the United States?
To be honest, that hasn't been a consideration for us. We're very proud that we have only sold product made here in the United States and grown here in the United States. So that's really something that we're remaining focused on and want to support the U.S. agricultural infrastructure.
Mm-hmm. We've seen that CBD has increasingly become the focus of clinical research and university level research in terms of its potential applications for ailments ranging from cancer to epilepsy. Is Charlotte's Web in a position to participate in the medical evolution of CBD as a pharmaceutical ingredient? Should that be deemed positive, effective by the FDA going forward?
I think the opportunity is there to participate given the infrastructure that we have in place, given the knowledge of manufacturing, cultivation, extraction that we have. But currently that's really looked at more by the pharmaceutical companies, and we're remaining committed to our health and wellness scope. I think that's something that we will explore, but it's not something that we'll look at in 2019. That's in the future of the company.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I'm looking at all of the different states, and from where we sit in Canada, it's kind of, you know, both an opportunity for cannabis entrepreneurs in the U.S. that gives them the ability to segment markets geographically that we don't have so much access to, with only, of course, 10 provinces and territories. But is it going to not present more of a challenge to preserve market share for you as a national producer of a product as all of these different producers come on and start to compete? I mean, is there not the potential for a price competition in CBD itself to drive the price and therefore the margin of products lower over time?
Well, we think that that's something that is a couple of years out. The infancy of this industry is really driving that. There's a lot of cost of setting up operations and getting going. And that's something that we've been doing for the last 4 years. So we have a distinct advantage that people know our brand. We have the infrastructure in place. And, you know, there's so much opportunity there given everything we've done. Of course, brands are going to come online, but they've got learning to do, and it's not an overnight process.
You bet. All right, Hess, that's a great introduction to the company. We're going to be happy to follow the company's progress as it develops. Thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Charlotte's Web is one of the, probably, I think, the original CBD product that was available in the United States. You are familiar with the story of the Stanley brothers and Charlotte Figge?
Yeah, yeah.
So Charlotte Figge was the young girl who was, or no, Charlotte Figge had a daughter who had epilepsy, Dravet syndrome, or a derivative thereof.
Right.
Was having hundreds of epileptic seizures per day, could not get access to cannabis under the rules. The Stanley brothers prepared a concentrated CBD oil for her, which immediately caused her to experience no seizures per day.
Mind-boggling.
And essentially transform her quality of life from one that was characterized by suffering to one that was more or less defined by enjoyment and health and wellness. Yeah. So it's interesting. They don't really put that front and center in their sort of corporate materials anymore, and I guess probably because they don't want to be seen to be offering CBD as a medicine.
Yeah. I got the chart up here of Charlotte's Web. Mm-hmm. Maybe we can get that on the screen quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, lots of volatility.
Yeah. See, this is what I love about this stock, is that there are times when it is halved in price, as we can see by the charts.
Yeah.
Several times since it went public. In each of those times, you could have laid down the same amount of money I laid down in the first place, which was 50 grand, and I could have doubled it again. So the great thing I love about Charlotte's Web stock is that no matter what, when it goes down, so far it has demonstrated superb resilience in bouncing back to the $17 range, and where it is today. And so it's like one of those stocks where, you know, probably that pattern will break the day I actually wade in and try to buy stock at a low price again. But again,
right now it's near its upper range. Yeah. You know, and again, we'll only time will tell. But how many shares outstanding? There's 70 million in cash.
Oh,
well funded.
Oh, Edward. How many shares outstanding? Let's see here. We'd have to go look that up quickly. CWEB, CSE, CNSX.
I think I might be able to.
$243 million market cap.
Well, that's not bad considering 70 million of that's cash.
Yeah. No, it's a tight little company.
Yeah, yeah, and based out of Colorado.
Yeah, based in Boulder, Colorado.
Interesting.
But again, there's first mover advantage for you in the cannabis space. So these are the guys who basically drove the impetus for Colorado to become the first state to legalize cannabis because of their successful treatment of the daughter of Charlotte Figi.
Wow. Very impressive.
Yeah, and to this day, the strain that they use to treat Charlotte is called Charlotte's Web. And, you know,
What a great story.
It is a great story. Interestingly, it was replicated recently in the UK with a company that one of our clients, Whalen Group, has now bought 50% of. Basically, the UK was saying there's no way that cannabis is ever going to be looked at as a potential medicine ever. And then this young lad had epilepsy, the same thing as Charlotte Figi, came forth, the media made a big deal out of it. This company stepped forth and said, here's some concentrated CBD. The child took it, no more epilepsy, quality of life transformed. In the United Kingdom, suddenly has reversed course completely and is now in the process of granting the first licenses for medical purposes. So, interesting how powerful the experience
and again,
can be.
you know, because I'm not that conversant with the difference between CBD and THC, but CBD is not a mental thing. It's a
well, they say it's not. I will say this. I will say that consumption of CBD, the psychotropic effect is far more subtle than that of THC. To say there is no psychotropic effect, in my view, is inaccurate because it has a mood-enhancing characteristic.
But maybe that's not psychotropic. Maybe that's something else.
If it modifies the way you feel, it is psychotropic.
Really?
Yeah.
Not to be confused with the tropics and the subtropics.
Well, theoretically, we could say psychotropic.
Okay. Well, you know what? It's been a winter, and winter, chicken dinner.
Jeez. Here we go with the winter chicken dinner again.
Anyway, it's Friday 3:30. I'm getting thirsty.
You getting thirsty, are you, Ed?
Yeah.
Suzanne, can we get a couple Negronis out here, please? I'm going to pull up...
you know what I just saw go by? Because it's a...
Uh-oh.
Juju went by at 9.5 cents. I don't think I've seen
half a penny.
Good God,
half
a penny
on,
half a penny on 9 is about 6%.
That's certainly a glass half full kind of look. But
well,
yeah, I've got in front of me right now. Oh, geez.
A tea.
Never mind. Okay, so what else we got going on here today?
I'm going to punch up.
Punch something
And by the
up.
way, you know what? The TNX, or the 10-year rate. Remember we said yesterday how it dropped precipitously down to, I think, about 255. Today, it's 266 or something. So it jumped back up as things seem to be looking a little more normal with the House and the Democrats and, you know, to your point. So look. Things don't go in one direction, do they? As we see every day.
I would say that rain is always falling down. I've never seen it fall up. So,
well, there's a good one.
What else? One direction.
Yeah.
The clock only goes clockwise. There you go. Any other smart, intelligent statements you want me to make a mockery of there, Ed?
Well, you know what? I've often say to some of my friends that, you know, if you drop this pencil 100 times, they'll say it'll always drop because of gravity. But they'll point out that there's a couple people that, you know, ascended into the heavens over the centuries, you know? So there's always exceptions.
Okay, so... Looks like Patriot One's been halted, and everybody's commenting on that on the chat room.
Has it been halted?
Yeah.
Jeez.
And it would be really nice if they would announce that they'd taken over this company I know they've been dancing with, because that would make my day.
Look at this, 222, got to 255. Look at, now put up that chart, for instance, Control Tower. Control Tower. Okay, now look at that move today. Low of 195 up to 255.
What do you got there, Ed?
And but look, I'm going to put up a. Let me just get my. So look at this. Look at this candle here. This last day, it's a big volume day, and yet now is the news out or not? Because it's backed off from 255 back to about 222. We got a big wick there. Big wick. Remember what I said about the big...
Yes, you needn't remind me, Ed. But, yeah.
So it's halted.
Apparently. Yep. 3 o'clock, halted.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And I saw there was a question up on the screen there a minute ago. Kempo Consult.
Yeah. Yeah. Gold got hammered. Yeah, we're not talking about gold right now.
Okay.
We'll come back to that.
So gold got hammered today, but mining stocks hardly dropped.
Well, they didn't get hammered. That's not quite accurate. Gold
it
went
just
down
had a little
slightly.
correction because, like, if you look at the bond market fell off.
Yeah.
And so rates are going up. Gold backed off.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
It's
inched higher. Gold inched downward. It was not by any way or stretch of the imagination slaughtered. Yeah, so I can't wait to hear what Patriot One's going to come out with as news. I mean, we know they've been in conversation with, Fortune 500 defense contractor, for example.
Really?
Yes.
Is that public knowledge?
It was public knowledge because Martin's talked about it in various interviews here and there.
Okay.
Among others with me. I happen to know that they've been in discussion with different companies about potential relationships that would be accretive and complementary to the core technology. So, yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting, Ed. What can I tell you?
Well, it's exciting if you're a shareholder.
Well, even if you're not a shareholder, it's exciting.
How can it be exciting if you're not a shareholder?
I don't know. It's like watching people on a roller coaster.
Okay,
you
that's
don't have
exciting.
To be on it. Yeah, exactly. You watch them. You see they're going up, 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 and they're going to go down, down, down. It's like you're not on it.
So you're saying you don't have to actually go on the ride. You should just go to and just watch the roller coaster.
Exactly.
Like maybe life is a roller coaster.
We're all connected.
Yeah.
We're all connected, Ed. We don't all have to... Yeah, I'm connected.
Like the Borg.
Well, not like the Borg, no.
No, the Borg's connected.
305 resistance is futile. Okay, well, so, yeah, Organogram Holdings. There's another one. I'm looking at this chart right now on my
what's
NDI, which, of course, the new tech Tri-Crasher is incapable of maintaining and anything resuming anything like consistency.
What's the ticker for? Is it O?
OGI on the TSX. Holding at 570. You know, this stock just came roaring back out of the end of year doldrums.
We got that. Okay.
Look at that little charty bump.
Yeah, you know what? Just saying, we've got a couple days here. It's having trouble moving a little higher from here, just based on the last 3 days. It's had a big move from $4.10 up to $6, almost 50%. And we've got a couple of big wicks again. Now, you know, maybe this is a time to, if you bought it at 4 something, maybe you sell it here.
Yeah.
Now, if you didn't buy it there, maybe you wait for a pullback before you step in.
Yeah. Well, this is exactly the level it was trading at in late October before all the shite hit the proverbial fan, as it were.
Yeah, yeah.
But, yeah, let's see what else here. Question from Mr. Green Thumbs 420. Is ACB going to break to the upside or to the downside? Seems to be underperforming. Mr. Green Thumbs 420, I'm going to walk out onto a limb here and make a unequivocal prediction and say that I think that Aurora is going to break to the upside. And the reason I think that is because I think that we're going to have, I think that we're going to see some information come out from the company that's going to put it in a positive light next week. You know, next week we have Freya's coming out with their earnings, and they're targeting a $40 million quarter. If they hit that quarter, that's going to sort of put the whole sector into a positive inclination.
Now, what if it comes out and they hit 38 million? You know what I mean? Like, they say 40. If they don't get the 40,
well, the guidance was 36 to 40.
Okay.
So if they come out in that range, it's all good. The question is going to be, what is the absolute earning? Like, what are the earnings going to be per share on a non-adjusted basis? They're going to come out, if they don't have earnings on a non-adjusted basis, they'll come out with earnings on an adjusted basis.
Sure.
But you remember back when Vic Neufeld used to be a regular on our show, he would come on and say that he was going to be profitable every quarter, and he was profitable for a few quarters, and then of course things went a little bit sideways for him, and not so much. But
well, the chart's saying there's some very nice basing going on here. You've got all this action in here is suggesting a base in conjunction with, you know, nice bottom there and a bottom there. Yeah, so if some good news can come, I think it can get a lift.
Yep, I think so too. Pat resumed trading, actually. Somebody just pointed out. So nothing slow about us over here. Yeah. So I'm going to take a look at some of the market movers here while we're dancing about and waiting for our friend Dmitry Zaytsev.
Yeah, I'm looking to see if...
Oh, he is. Okay, here's a trivia question for you then.
Okay, folks, time to test your knowledge. You'd expect to smell weed at a Grateful Dead concert. I mean, it kind of comes with the territory. But when it came to participating in a scientific study in 1971, frontman Jerry Garcia wasn't interested in Mary Jane. Instead, he signed up concert goers for a whole other experiment. So here's our question. What was the subject of study Garcia used his fans at concerts to explore? Was it A, telepathy and ESP through dreaming, B, the impact of LSD on psychosis, C, concert sound and hearing loss, or D, do tie-dye t-shirts make me look fat? The answer coming up shortly.
Oh, yeah, well, there's the trivia question, and guess who's joining me now live? It's Dmitry Zaytsev. He's the analyst with the most from Zaytsev Capital. We're gonna stick with that.
Stick with that, yeah.
Yeah, how are you doing, Dmitry?
I'm doing
Happy
great.
New Year.
Happy New Year. It's been quite an interesting last couple of weeks.
Hasn't it, though? Hasn't it? So from what you saw, like we're looking at all this sudden exuberance, for want of a better term, in the cannabis sector as a result of exuberance in broader markets, obviously. Is this something that you saw coming? And if so, what was it that made you think this was going to happen? And if it surprised you, what was it that surprised you about it?
Yeah, so I can never say I saw something coming, but we sort of chatted late December, and my inclination, and on the show we've chatted that things looked like they were bottoming. Why? Because pessimism in the general markets was extreme going into end of December. So the way I played it was really broader markets, you know, call options on broader markets, so like the SPY and all of that kind of stuff. But generally, I think the exuberance you've seen in the cannabis space recently has been really centered around the smaller and mid-cap names. Generally, if you've seen Canopy, hasn't really moved as much as some of these other names. So I'd venture to say this is more of a liquidity type, I wouldn't say issue, but phenomenon.
Right. So do you think that the positivity of the last few days in terms of performance have been as a result largely or primarily of the broader market sort of exuberance as a result of, well, the House managing to table legislation that's going to get the federal government back to work?
Yeah, I think it's a little different. I think what happened was cannabis markets actually seemed like they bottomed before global markets, which to me is very interesting, and it's happened a couple of times in my estimation. I think what you saw was a really aggressive tax loss selling season, and not just in the cannabis space, and energy and some other spaces. And so you saw a really big lift where a lot of these buyers who said, I'm going to wait until tax loss ends, waited and said, okay, this is good. This is a good spot to enter. And right around that time, markets sort of stabilized somewhat. And I don't think it has all that much to do with the House and the shutdown. I think that's 1% of the overall sort of issue. I think it's a lot more to do with economic data and a lot more to do with Powell, the Federal Reserve Chairman.
So what in the economic data picture has changed since?
Yeah, so what's happened recently is you had the Chinese PMI that was really negative for manufacturing, I think, earlier this week. And today, for example, where we got this stronger rally was you had, last 2 days, you had a stronger PMI coming out of China last night. Then you also had non-farm payrolls, which were very strong. And then you also had the big thing that moved, I think, everything today was Chair Powell. He actually had a speech or a panel discussion today with Yellen and Bernanke. And you could actually pinpoint on the chart for general equity markets where he said, yeah, we're flexible with the balance sheet, we're flexible with interest rates, and that moved trillions of dollars of assets globally.
So that statement, you think, was interpreted as meaning we would be happy to decrease interest rates by a quarter point if necessary. We would be happy even to begin quantitative easing if the economic environment required it?
So what happened earlier was, last time when the Fed had their decision, it was more or less expected that they would do that one hike, but Powell came out and said that there would be 2 more hikes, which the market said, this data doesn't match. It doesn't match what's happening in the economy. So if he does 2 hikes, it's gonna be a Fed mistake. Like previous recessions have been caused by the Fed tightening way too aggressively and loosening way too late. And so when he came out and said, yeah, we're flexible, given tightening, given this, inflation's not a problem, the market sort of said, oh, beads of sweat.
Right.
Rolling off.
Easy there, Jerome.
Yeah, exactly. And so you sort of saw that stabilization. Interestingly, though, like today, Canopy didn't really react the same way. And I'm kind of surprised that the cannabis, and especially the big cannabis names that are listed on the New York Stock Exchange, aren't reacting to these really, really large moves in broader markets. That to me is very surprising. But I think right now, and I was talking to Ben about this, it's time to, I think, kick the tires, as you would say. Prices have come down significantly. I think this pop that we've seen, if you have some positions maybe you weren't so happy with, this is a good opportunity to maybe trim some of those down and add to others that you are more comfortable with or you think have better prospects. It's a good time to sort of re-examine your strategy as an investor.
Interesting. Well, I've been re-examining my head lately as an investor. Unfortunately, it seems I own too much of that which is not moving, and that which is moving well, I don't own enough of, as seems to be the theme. But so then, what's you had this idea that you were just going to wait and see in the new year, and now here's the new year, and we've got this unbridled enthusiasm defining the market. Do you think it's time to sort of act on this unbridled enthusiasm, or would you say that it's time to still just sort of take a measured approach and observe before going rushing in? I mean, to me, a couple of days of exuberance does not a bull market make, especially coming out of the end of tax loss selling season and after, the uncertainty injected into the market by the Fed is now being walked back by the Fed. It's like this, to me, is a net nothing.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was talking to a couple of my friends and colleagues. It's that you're going to probably have a retrace on the S&P and broader markets back to where things were around the time the Fed came out with some of their data, the rate hikes specifically. I think right now is a time, versus October 17th, it's a time where if you've had a lot of cash, it's time to maybe put a little bit to work. I'm not getting very aggressive myself. I think it's a good opportunity to still write puts and calls, just very carefully, as always, but especially carefully, not going too big on position sizes, and just wait and see. Like you were looking at Organogram, and that's a great sort of example of a company that has very low liquidity and that was really pushed up. I wouldn't be buying it here, but listen, that's one I missed as well. If I knew we'd have such a big push, that's something I would have gone on, as opposed to some of the other names. But yeah, I think generally the big catalyst right now is the Farm Bill and the fallout of that. So we're going to see, I think, Canopy and some of the other bigger names move into the U.S. and establish infrastructure through the hemp CBD channels first. And I think that could start having analysts and investors re-rate what possible revenues could be going forward, and that could be a general catalyst.
So you mean that analysts might re-rate these companies based on the fact that, they can go into the U.S. as long as they stick to hemp-derived CBD products, which is not an unsubstantial market in the United States.
Rapidly growing.
And do you think that those revaluations to the upside for the Canadian producers who are able to infiltrate the United States are going to occur at the expense of U.S. companies, especially maybe the crop of U.S. companies that IPO'd in the Q4 2018 and have underperformed?
I think with the U.S. names, you have to just be very careful because there's a lot of issuance that has come to market and that will continue to come to market. So I think there's definitely a lot of great players, and we've mentioned them on this show before, but some of the top guys, I think you're relatively safe to own those because it's a little bit of a different market at this point. But with, let's say, the States Act and any kind of political changes that happen in leading into 2020, let's say, or at least talk of political changes. I think that's really going to set the stage as the next potential catalyst. But I would just caution that other than that, right, there's not too many positive catalysts out there. I mean, you can say Ontario retail is going to raise revenues, but that's a very, very small catalyst. And I think we're still, a lot of companies are trading on very optimistic assumptions, which aren't going to come to fruition. And so I think it's before going gung-ho on some of your positions, you should probably wait and see how these quarters roll out, what the reception is of certain products. Right, so what brands are actually doing well? You could say as a company, I have great brands, but until consumers buy your brands and choose your brands over other companies' brands, especially when there's so little marketing that you're allowed to do on these brands, until that happens, you're not going to really have a good direction, I think.
Sure. Okay, so what are you looking at in 2019 as potentially big sector-wide catalysts that will lift all boats? I mean,
all boats, yeah.
All boats. But I want to preface that with, we saw Novartis come into Tilray with a big investment and a commitment to exclusively use Tilray products for all of their cannabis requirements globally, which for Novartis is no small thing. However, it had the net impact of a dart thrown at a nuclear target. It was just nothing happened. So, I mean, are there catalysts out there in 2019 you see that will be more meaningful, or have we moved into the era where the only catalyst that's going to really move the needle is going to do so on a balance sheet, and it'll only do so for the company that can demonstrate or deliver a balance sheet that demonstrates Q1Q growth with earnings?
Yeah, I think like I mentioned earlier, the US is really big, so that's where the catalyst could actually come from. Barring that, you're sort of in this really big dry spell where it will be company specific, I think. With Tilray, that stock is just ridiculous, generally speaking, and so it's everyone,
what do you mean by that?
everyone wished they owned Tilray, but
right.
You know what? It's still probably multiples of overvalued relative to even the top peers. And so the issue is, it was kind of used as a trading vehicle, I feel like, by retail investors, given the really small float and how tied it was to equity markets, the big volatility and swings in Tilray as well. So as a stock, I think, if you're arbitrary, but if you're 5 times overvalued, right, just based on liquidity, right, and you have a great deal that doubles your intrinsic value, well, you're still, 3x over.
Right.
Using just that simple analogy. So
it's going to be hard to move the needle if you've got all the overvaluation already built in.
Yeah, and if you look at Khiron, which great for them to lock down that Altria deal, they've done a little bit more favorably than Tilray. Right, who's actually had 2 deals, actually, right? So, like I was chatting with Ben the last week we were here, but if you can have 3 deals in a span of 1 or 2 weeks happen and nothing moves,
right?
What's going to happen when there's bad news? Because this sector is, we saw with the AFRIA report and other things that are coming around. Bad news happens too.
Yeah, you bet. Okay, so what's your big strategy for the rest of Q1 2019?
Yeah, so I'm just looking at names that I like. That's US names and a couple of producers I like in Canada, maybe a few niche plays, and I'm putting a little bit of my own money to work, and just waiting a little bit longer, but if I can get some options, some long call options, so on some names like Canopy at the right price, if things sort of roll over a little bit more, or we get a little bit more of a correction, I might look into that. That might be something interesting. But I'm still sort of in a very cautious wait and see mode, but for investors out there, I would say, if you have some cash, not investment advice, obviously, because we are right. For entertainment purposes show. Educational and entertainment purposes only.
Yeah.
But I would say I'm just slowly putting some cash to work.
Cool. All right, Dmitry, we're going to leave it there for now. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you again next week.
Sounds good, James.
Here's the answer to your trivia question now as we wait.
Earlier in the show, we asked you about a Grateful Dead concert. Back in 1971, Jerry Garcia allowed his audience to participate in an experiment, not about the use of marijuana, but something else. What was that something else? Well, it was A, telepathy and ESP. With researchers named Krippner and Ullman, a study was conducted at 6 shows in February of 1971. They felt Grateful Dead concerts had the exact kind of ESP conducting energy needed to achieve peak PSI communication. At midnight during each concert, 2,000 fans were shown images and asked to use your ESP to transmit those images to 5 designated receivers, sleeping within a 100-mile radius from their venue. The images changed with each concert. The results? They were inconclusive. If you got this one right, then clearly you're a deadhead.
You know what? The juju's moving like this, eh?
Really?
It's got a. Don't sell it now.
Don't sell it now.
But if it gets to 13 to 14,
Ed's giving me financial advice. Don't sell the juju now, he says. You know what, Ed? I wouldn't sell the juju now because I've acquired my position at roughly this price. And so I need it to do something more along the lines of what we would categorize as performance before I'm going to sell it.
How about a nickel? If you got a nickel, would you take it?
A nickel? Well, that would be a 50% win. So yeah, I'd take it.
Okay.
I'd take it and I'd buy it again. Let's remember, I first started buying juju at 9 cents. And the thing went to 15. I sold it. Bought back in at 12. Rode it up to 17. Made some money. Sold it. Bought back in, loaded up the truck at 21 cents, 25 cents, 27 cents, and the thing tanked the other way. Gave back everything I'd won. But anyways, not to say that that couldn't happen again. And that's why I thought, okay, 9 cents, I'm going to buy this thing and see if Steve and Neil actually pull something together here that constitutes a big deal. James Albert says, hey, James and Ed, what does there need to do be a term, what does Tilray need to do in terms of growth strategy to justify its valuation beyond just demonstrating earnings? Acquisitions, perhaps. No, I would say Tilray is all about the show me the money on the balance sheet. I think that's it. That's all they have to do is perform. Q on Q, double-digit growth, 4 quarters in a row with a nice margin that results in net income on an unadjusted basis. Don't forget, Tilray reports in GAAP, which is a much cleaner way of looking at somebody's balance sheet than is IFRS. So for me, I think Tilray, you know, people love them, people hate them because they've been so volatile. But at the end of the day, this is a company that's run by some very smart people who have made a ton of money. Don't forget, Peter Thiel is a background investor in this company. So this is the Silicon Valley bet in the cannabis space. And those guys have, besides having almost unlimited depth to their pockets, they've also got access to, and you know, they've got the inside track on what's happening legislatively. They've got all kinds of advantages that smaller companies just will not have. So, I mean, we love to make fun of Tilray because it's so volatile and because its valuation has swung so wildly. But at the end of the day, this company starts tacking on Q double-digit growth with a, you know, single-digit income. That's going to be fine, and the stock will start to then perform and act more like a blue chip technology stock than it will a wild cannabis play, which it has been. That's my opinion for what it's worth.
That's more than 5 cents, I think.
That's a dime's worth.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's got a big valuation, and it's got to justify that valuation. Like the viewer's question is very good.
Yeah. No, our viewers don't ask dumb questions, Ed.
No. But our responses can be somewhat construed to be dumb.
They can leave something to be
no
desired.
Stupid questions, only stupid answers.
That's right. We specialize in those.
From now on, I'll be asking the questions.
All right, then. JC is comments here that, oh, good, Ed's back. You've got your fans out there.
Well, you know what? That's good. You know what? I'm buying tonight, if you can find me.
So, yeah, you know, I want to go look at the Patriot One Technologies site.
Yeah. So I just, while I was away, I looked it up, and I saw it had a big move.
Yeah.
Any
news?
Well, there was. I saw 2 things in stock. Can I say I saw it in Stockwatch?
Yeah, I suppose.
It said stock halted, and then stock resumed, and I couldn't find the press release. So it must be in the website. I'd like to know what the website is because the stock has moved. Look at this. You could have bought this thing $1.60.
And stock was halted at 10.48. by a single stock circuit breaker. So there's
okay.
So it started trading way too much volume for the exchange on a circuit breaker. So there will be no news, and it's just somebody obviously knows something when people start buying the stock like that. Somebody knows something.
Yeah, but you know what? We've seen big moves in this. This has been a great stock.
Yeah.
I don't like that last candle, the candle today with that big wick. I don't like it.
Yeah. What are you thinking? Sell it?
Well, no, you know what? I mean, look. If I had it at a good price, I'd probably lighten up, and then I'd probably try to buy it back lower.
Yeah.
Trade it a bit, because we are in a, we're not like a buy and hold market like we saw from May to December. I'm talking about the big market, right?
Why don't we pull up a chart of Aurora? Do some doodles on that.
We did. That's what we did.
We did?
10 minutes ago.
Aurora?
ACB.
Oh, okay. Is that the symbol? I wasn't paying attention.
No, you know what? Full disclosure, I'm half asleep most of the time myself. That's why this show works so well for you and I, because we don't ask difficult questions.
Usually while you're talking, I'm trying to think of what I'm going to say next. So I'm not actually paying attention. It's
usually
like, oh, good, Ed's talking.
Usually when you're talking, I'm glad so I don't have to talk.
It's not uncommon that we don't know what the hell each other are talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, what are our thoughts on Tinley beverages?
Well, I like the space. I like this idea of having a drink and getting a little kick at the same time. So there.
So you like it?
Well,
okay. How about a Tilray chart?
Let's look at a Tilray chart.
So the thing I'm looking at Tilray was at $72 a little earlier. Now it's backed off to $69.95.
Tinley and Tilray are almost, the same TLRY. Let's take a look.
They both have T and Y in it.
Yeah, there you go. T and Y. And why do they have T?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, so we got a 3-month chart here on. Let's take a look at a 6-month. I got to tell you, this chart I don't like, and I'll tell you why. Because there's valuation concerns, and it's sort of at the low end of its retreat. We had the big exponential move on the short cover. Okay, we've had a correction. We've had subsequent, back and fill. It's now quieting down in this last month here.
So is that the support level right there?
That's support, but the support, then you tell me there's more stock coming, free trading.
More stock's coming, Ed.
Look. You know what? I hate to be simplistic. But
that shouldn't be a factor, because most of these stocks, there's always stock coming.
No, but it should be a factor. I disagree with you.
Okay.
Vehemently.
Okay. Vehemently.
I'm going to disagree vehemently.
Okay.
Vehemently.
How much stock is coming?
Well, if it's a lot of stock, it may knock it down 10%, but 10% on a what is it? $70?
Yeah.
It's $7. And remember, all the players in this have profits. Yeah. So if there's just a little bit of something's not right, you head for the exits.
Patriot One was halted for a grand total of 7 minutes.
Yeah, that's just so there was no news on Patreon One.
No.
Okay. Well, that's
there's some awfully meaningful trading happening.
Meaningful.
Well, yeah. Look at that chart.
No, but it.
Pull up a Patriot chart.
I just did. I'll do it again. You know what? This is like Groundhog Day.
I know. This is what happens when that stupid NDI thing doesn't work. It's like I have to channel all my queries through you, which just makes me go in circles.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Get yourself a good computer.
Yeah. Well, it's not the computer.
Well, you got an Apple, eh? I got a Microsoft.
Yeah. Well, it's not that. It's the NDI bullshit from bullshit company. What's it called? New Tech. Anyways, we'll be soon rid of this junk.
Should we look at Tinley for our viewer?
Yeah, pull up a chart of Tinley. Let's take a look at that. So we know Jeff Mazer, who founded the company.
I've met Jeff. He's a nice guy.
And that was financed by Anthony Durkach over at First Republic.
Is it TNY?
TNY, yeah. And
TNY.
Who else is involved with that? David Posner, who is the co-founder of Nutritional High. Another one that I think Anthony had something to do with financing over there. So, it's one that has not caught fire in the context of like these other stocks that have gone, on to become 10x multiples of their former selves.
On the other hand, if it hasn't, maybe the market cap's reasonable, because it sounds like they've got products from what I can recall.
So this is the chart?
This is the chart, and...
Okay. Been on a bit of a tear in the last few days.
Yeah, well, as most things have, right? But it has come
So what's the high on this one?
Back in here, we're looking at about 95 cents.
95 cents.
Yeah.
Well, important to recall that if it went there once, it can go there again.
Yeah. Well, right now, I say there's a trend there, and there's a trend there. Now, it broke out of that trend and then immediately went through. It could be basing here. There's no question. It could be, waiting around to get going.
Yeah. What does the action on the charts with the FRIA and GGB tell you about the potentiality for that transaction to move forward?
Okay, well, let's take a look. I got to remember the sequence here. I think we'll take a look at APHA. This APHA, it just looks like it's going to sleep a bit here, isn't it? Like 808, a 5-cent move, 3 million shares in Canada. That's low volume for this, isn't it?
Yeah. Look at this.
And the
Green Growth Brands is up to $5. Bid 498, 499 on 162,000. That's pretty interesting. So thinly traded stock. Obviously, where did that open today? Opened at 460 on 162,000 shares. They're able to move it up to $5. That's or 312,000. Sorry.
Yeah.
Still pretty impressive.
No kidding. No kidding. Wow.
So when I look at that, and I know that GGB is suggesting that they're going to do a raise at $7, I'm thinking that, well, maybe it's a buy here now. Like I sold the GGB when they came out with that announcement.
But you made money.
Yeah, I made it a, I don't know, 30%.
Sometimes they say the FOMO of a trade. Like if you sell it and you made money, but then it keeps going up, it drives you nuts, right?
Yeah.
FOMO, fear of missing out.
Ah.
Maybe that I can relate to that, I think.
Yeah. All right. So let's take a look at Adamo Barbieri did a piece on skincare and cannabis, and here's that little item.
Okay, I'm here.
CBD, short for cannabidiol, is one of over 60 different cannabinoids found in the cannabis plant. It's been said that CBD does not have any psychoactive effects, but actually holds several therapeutic properties. And with the new federal cannabis laws in Canada, CBD is now being included within skincare products, and even dermatologists are teaming up with cannabis companies to test out CBD in their treatments.
I've been involved with a clinical trial with MedRelief, the cannabis producing company, for about a year now. And what we've been doing is taking the oil extract from the process of CBD creation to create a cream, a topical agent for the treatment of eczema and itchy disorders. For a long time, people thought there was a value in having CBD in skincare products, but it really hasn't been officially tested until now. And during our trial, we actually found out that people's itch would be reduced pretty significantly. Sometimes there's pain associated with eczema as well, and all of these symptoms were dramatically reduced. Patients were quite happy being on it.
Is there a limit to how much CBD you can have in a product?
There doesn't seem to be a limit right now in terms of a topical product as to how much CBD one can have. It seems that we're trying to figure out if there is a safety limit, but so far people have been able to tolerate even relatively high amounts. I think studies like ours show that it's actually very safe to use it topically. There's no ill effects. So I think that hopefully that will help to make these rules a little bit more flexible.
Like any cannabis product, there are certain regulations to abide by. Topicals have a limit of no more than 1 gram of THC in each package. So while the use of CBD for skincare is progressing in Canada, companies like Khiron are producing and selling CBD skincare products within South America.
So right now we've got the product available in Colombia. We just had it registered in Peru, and we've just had it registered in Mexico as well. So expect us to register all the way through Latin America. You won't see it anytime soon in North America. adding CBD, and in our case particular, our active ingredient, which is called CB Derm, which is our trademarked product, you know, including in our wellness product, there's a few things that it does for you. One, it's very, very hydrating, so it's 3 times more hydrating than vitamin E. It's very, very moisturizing. It helps with anti-aging, and it just makes you feel good. We're the first ones in Colombia to have these products for sale and available commercially. We've been commercially for sale for almost 3 months now. We've got access online through Farmalisto, online through our own website called Cuida Care. As we're announcing that we're opening up Peru, which is 32 million people, others are getting excited about opening up a dispensary in Prince Edward Island of 100,000 people. That's the difference in scale that we're talking about. So Canada's not a focus for us, United States is not a focus for us. We're focused on Latin America. And our market, by the way, is bigger than Canada, United States, and Germany all combined.
CBD studies have advanced quite a bit, and its medicinal properties are definitely evident. But with this new sector, there are still a lot of gray areas and a lot of room to grow. For Midas Letter Live, I'm Adamo Barbieri.
Yeah, I just want to mention that I use CBD all over my body, and it feels good.
That's because when you guzzle it in copious quantities, it's spilling all over you.
Oh, I put down a drop sheet and drop bottles full of it and roll around in it and
really
have a good time with myself.
Ooh.
Just kidding. Actually, I never used it topically, but I do use it internally on a daily basis, which is what makes me so smart, I think. Maybe not. I wanted to mention that at the end of today's show, being Friday, the Blooper crew has been here, and the Blooper crew has made you and me look pretty dumb, look pretty crazy.
I think we've got lots of bloopers too.
I think that the bloopers are something that bloopers are us.
Loopers.
Loopers.
If you can't pronounce your B, you could say, let's see the loopers.
Snoopers. Stoopers.
Okay,
all right, let's provide some value to these people here, Ed. They're watching us like bandy back and forth.
Yeah.
James Albert, who's always got a good question, says, a friend bought a cannabis-infused psoriasis cream from the black market. Works fantastic, apparently. So there you go.
Wow. Psoriasis.
Khiron has issues, though. Medium annual household income is very low in Latin America. Actually, Joseph Lee, I would like to point out that because median average incomes are so low, prices are so low, but for a company that grows CBD or accesses CBD on such a low cost of production basis, by virtue of the fact they grow in Colombia, it's well suited. Let's not forget, Latin America has 420 million peeps, making it one of the largest economic blocks in the world anywhere. So even with lower income,
you say Latin America, you're including South America.
Latin America, is South America,
and
including Central America,
and Mexico,
because
the Latin is
if you say South America,
when you say Latin, is that sort of like the Latin language? They speak Latin.
Ipsum nolum pigdum shutupum.
Oh, a little igpe atnale.
What do you think of VFF?
I don't
Guy
know
wants
VFF.
to know.
Let's
Village
find
Farms.
out.
Village Farms has.
I have a question?
They have 1 million square feet of greenhouse under cultivation in a partnership with Emerald Health. Now, both of these companies couldn't promote their way out of a wet paper bag, which is why they're so undervalued. Village Farms is part of a much bigger greenhouse growing conglomerate that grows a goodly amount of vegetables, but again, they couldn't promote their ways out of a wet paper bag, so nobody's ever going to know this story, and they're expecting everybody to just figure it out on the balance sheet. Won't happen. I've tried to tell them that. They don't know that, and so what?
Do the people that run Village Farms, would they be called the Village People?
Well, you'd have to talk to Mike about that, and he might smile, but given...
Remember that?
His disposition.
YMCA.
Pretty sure he'd just take you apart and say, you know, you're a village person. No, village
I'm the village idiot.
Jesus, Ed, now don't be laying claim to that mantle.
Self-deprecating, no problem.
Shivet Kyotostatic Bafanine Efi. Boy, that name is just a killer.
Let's say that again.
She's loving BFF and says growing in Texas.
Wait a minute.
Javante Music, Giorgio DeVio, and BFF
in
is
10
up.
days, the stock's gone from $4 to $5.
Oh, you know what? I'm looking at my image here on. Oh, there we go. Never mind. What's that?
Village Farms International.
Yes.
Okay, well now when I look at it in the broader text, it's gone from 6 months ago it was around $8 down to $4. Now it's $5 and change.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So.
But it's been doing that all along. But
yeah,
lower lows and
lower highs.
That's what I wanted to say.
Makes VFF a no-go for me. It doesn't excite me. What can I say? I mean, they've got such huge potential, but again, they don't spend any money on telling the story to the world. If you don't spend the money, nobody's going to know.
They should come and see you.
Well, absolutely. But that's... All right, another question here. Any thoughts on flower?
I love flowers. Do you like flowers, Ed? Flowers.
Flower power.
Flowers.
No, I don't.
Flowers.
I don't. Flower.
Great house music piece. Flowers. Armin van Buuren. Boom, 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 boom.
I liked his song.
We're going to do a cover of that as soon as we get our band set up here. Oh, I almost forget. We're going to pull out a few products here, and we're going to talk about some products that are soon going to be available at store.midasletter.com. Remember that, store.midasletter.com. I'm going to start it off with this beautiful little device here, which is a bubbler by Snoop Dogg. Now, you would think cannabis being legal, that we could actually pack this little sucker full of a little something something and give her a little... Whoa, man, blew my goddamn stack off. Woo! Boy.
Oh, I bet you that hit the spot.
So this is a awesome little bubbler. You put some water in there, and it's got this little valve, relief valve on the side, and you put your little bud in there, fire it up.
This bud's for you.
And the liquid cools it. But isn't that a gorgeous piece of work?
Yeah.
Look at that. You're looking at that? Look at that.
What's that?
Snoop Dogg. So is this going to be available on the Midas Letter store? I think it might be. I can't say for sure yet, but we're going to be launching this store soon. But look at this packaging. This is a Snoop Dogg accessory.
Let's see that
for you.
Okay.
Now, something a little bit less spectacular looking, but definitely awesomely functional. Is this
look at this package
bong.
would cost a fortune.
Look at this little bong here. So you put the bowl on there. You probably want to get a screen to sit down in there, and then you pack your little buds in there, and you put some water down in here, fill it up to that line there, and
wait, what's this? Let me grab one of these.
And that's the so now that's one I'm going to finish with, Ed.
Can you get?
So there's that one.
Look at this, Trailer Park Boys. Look at this.
Here, let me.
Look at it. Look at it.
Yeah.
Can you see? Here. What?
That's the one we're going to finish with.
Oh, okay. But you know,
so this is the pièce de résistance.
I would like to have a one with Ricky's picture on it.
Ricky Gerwitz, the news girl?
No, Ricky.
Oh.
Ricky from TBB.
Oh, heure.
You know that
but here's the killer one here.
That's the Cadillac right there. But
this is the...
you know Mr. Leahy's dead?
Joyce, you're just a fountain of good news today on this Friday afternoon.
He was on the show.
Get some Negronis out here, please.
And they suggested...
But look at this. This comes out.
Look at
pack
this.
that little sucker full. Fill it up with water. This little stem comes out for easy cleaning as well.
Easy cleaning.
And re-waterification. But isn't that a beautiful piece of work? Like, this is going to give you a nice, cool smoke.
Yeah, but you know what? Again, if it's legal, I don't understand why we can't...
Because in Canada, you can only smoke...
Can we talk about what the retail price will be on these products?
No, we can't yet because we don't have those numbers yet. So these are
which one can I take home?
None of them. Well, you go on the website, you can take whichever. Tell you what, I'll deliver it personally. How about that?
Oh, I got somebody that says I remind them of their dad. Okay.
You'll take that. So there we go. There's the 3 products. Like, this is what I like about this one. Look at that. Just sits nicely on the table like that.
Oh.
So these are 3 products that are very representative of what's going to be on MidasLetter.com for sale very soon.
Is that the sort of the trifecta of products?
Well, this is just an example. We're going to start showing all the products here soon enough, but we're going to have grinders, papers, vapes, and pipes, and bongs, and you name it. We're going to have it all. Bubblers, troublers, dibblers, doublers,
there's the whole idea
be like a Dr.
to get high in style, or is this just to get high?
Well, let me ask you this, Ed. If you had the option of just getting high or getting high in style, which would you prefer?
Get high in style.
Well, fortunately, they come with buttons, and I can undo them.
Oh, yeah, I wondered about that. Like,
well, they got buttons.
You just wear those shirts all the time, don't you?
Yeah,
those are fake hands. Those hands are actually put on after. What?
Oh, man.
Have another pull on that hookah.
Can you imagine how the real stuff makes me cough?
Joe Briscoe, so you're giving these away?
No, we're not giving them away.
Come on.
Nope.
How about to me? Nope. At least give it to me, and I'll pretend
No, but what we are going to do is we're going to use these to sample some of the cannabis products, which we're going to start doing in February. We've got this...
did we get permission to start doing it in February?
We have a device coming in February that will give us the ability to measure on a scientific clinical basis, the quantity of THC and CBD and terpenes present in any given cannabis product, as well as what heavy metals might be present, what pesticides might be residually there. So we'll be able to put these things through paces much like Health Canada does, and be able to tell whether the label is what is in there.
Are there terpenes and turpentine?
Yes.
No, terpentine.
Well, there are terpenes in turpentine.
Are there?
Sure.
I just took a wild guess.
Wow.
I must have been doing some...
See, now for that, you win a Negroni. Suzanne!
Suzanne! Give me some Negroni!
Get a Negroni. He's going to start throwing stuff.
Yeah.
So
and
this
bring some meatloaf, too.
So isn't that nice box? That's what it's going to be delivered
How about my picture in that? Right.
Snoop, look! We need ice. Is there ice?
Okay. Okay, let's go.
Can you pour two, please? Excellent. Now, isn't this great packaging though? Like this is what I love about this. Like this is a beautiful pipe. If I had this,
what do you want me to do? Where? Give me a clue. Over here. Here. Let's put it over here. I just got a message from God. God just talked to me.
Oh, what did God have to say?
He said, move that effing box.
Oh, how's that? That good?
Whew.
There.
Boy, I'm getting thirsty.
Boy, I'm just getting up a sweat. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for your dining and dancing pleasure, you're going to meet the lovely and talented Suzanne Garcia, Chase producer. Suzanne, come on in and bring those Negronis in here.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
I'll take my two over here.
These are some proper Negronis. Now,
no, wait, I only get one?
Let's get the bottle in here so that we can give kudos to Dillons, who are the fine people who provided us with these Negronis.
Let's not get any on my computer, okay?
What? Don't worry, Ed.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to you, everybody. It's Friday.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And we're celebrating with some Negronis.
Ooh, that's nice.
Ooh. That's a proper Negroni. Now, let me ask you,
is that a pre-mixed Negroni?
That's a pre-mixed Negroni. Here's Suzanne with the bottles.
It's almost like a martini Negroni.
Cheers, boys.
So these are by Dillons.
Top up.
Now, do we know where we can buy these? They're signed. Each one's signed.
By James West.
P&G Dillon.
I think.
Who are these guys? We got to get these guys on the show. They make a good Negroni.
Yeah, Ryan was saying they only make a few bottles, like a few cases per year, and they distribute them to select restaurants.
Nice.
You look like you're right at home. Look at this. Negroni.
If I had some real weed in here, I'd be at home, but unfortunately, we're limited.
I smoked all that weed.
Yeah, I know.
But the quality was a little, I don't know. My guy that I get it for free, it's better. It's got good stuff.
Well, you know why? Because he probably gives it to you in a time frame that observes the fact that cannabis is a perishable good.
But he keeps it in the freezer.
Yeah, but that's bullshit. You
no,
don't want
no, you want it in the freezer.
No, you don't want it in the freezer. You know what it does when it's in the freezer? You freeze dry it. You take all those beautiful, pristine trichomes and you make them
you know what you do?
brittle and dry, and they turn into dust.
You take some apple peel and put it in there.
No. Now, if you want to, okay, so when you dry out pot, you dry it out for maybe 6-7 days for perfection.
Are you assuming that I grow pot if I dry it out?
No, I know you don't grow pot.
You said when you
I'm saying when you grow pot.
Not me.
No, not you. I'm growing the pot around.
Look at this, James Albert. Happy New Year. Love the show. Thanks, James.
Thanks, James.
Hey,
here's to you.
Let's send that guy a bottle of Negroni
and a pipe. Look at this. Is that not a great matching setup?
You know what? The colors. I noticed the colors right away.
You know what I'm going to do? Next bud I get, I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to put some Negroni in here.
Put some Negroni right in there and suck it right out of that.
That wouldn't work, Ed.
Suck it out of that knob.
That doesn't work like that.
What?
Jesus, you never used a pipe before?
I'm turning the dials.
The whole point of putting the stuff in here.
What's in this thing anyway? Holy shit. Okay.
All right. Simon Cleary says, Dylan's from Beamsville, Niagara Gin, available at the LCBO. Thank you for that, Simon. That's great.
Is this available?
Yeah. LCBO.
Why would I go there when I can get it here for free?
Well, because it's not going to last long around here for free. I can assure you that. In fact, I'm going to even go so far as to hazard a guess that I'm going to say that prediction. By the end of Friday, January the 4th, there will be no more Negronis in the offices of...
No, you know why?
Why?
Because you're going to take them home with you.
No, you know what? 4 East guys got me my whole own Negroni kit. I got a bottle of gin, a bottle of Campari, a bottle of Martini and Rossi.
So all those bottles in there I can take?
No, we're going to drink them all this afternoon.
Let's drink them.
That's right.
2 servings per 100 people.
Well, 2 servings for normal people. That's 1 serving for us, Suzanne.
So let's just look at the caloric content here.
Okay, markets have been closed. Let's get back to some serious analytics. This is why generally we don't drink
Simply
till after
chill
the
or
show.
pour straight over ice and enjoy.
Okay, can you see my NDI at all in the control room? What's the deal here? I can't hear anything. No NDI for James.
Okay, what do you want to know?
Conspiracy here. What do I want to know? Okay, let's
Modern
look
Picasso,
at a few.
He's got a most important question of the day.
I want to pull up the
18.4%.
That's an important question. It's good work, Ed.
Thank you. I had to. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's fine.
You know what I saw?
Very well done.
Sometimes you just have to take over.
Yeah, because every once in a while you just got to stick your foot.
Because I can read. Obviously, you can't read from there to there, but I can read from there to there.
Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to look at was a chart of Canopy Growth Corp.
Okay.
Because as Dmitry pointed out, here's a company that has not participated in the general rebound that started as soon as we came back to school here. So let's take a look at a chart, Ed, and see if you... Whoa! Wait! Now he's got my NDI. Boy, what? But I can't draw pictures now.
Here it is. Canopy Growth Corp.
Okay.
Draw some pictures. $76. This is a 1-year chart. Wow. You know, this is actually extremely
bearish.
Telling.
Telling?
Yeah, I'd have to say, if this thing can't get going, this behemoth of a company, I think it's going to be difficult for others unless they have something. This is sort of the big baby here, eh?
This is the bellwether of the sector. One of the bellwethers of the sector. Okay, so here's the interesting thing.
Okay.
You look at Aurora, sucking hind tit.
Yeah.
You got Canopy, sucking hind tit. You got Tilray, sucking hind tit. Freya, sucking hind tit.
Can I make a comment?
Absolutely.
Is it maybe a case of these have the biggest market caps and therefore they're the hardest to move when there's some ambivalence apathy coming into the general markets?
You can make that comment.
I'm losing my ear soother.
You could make that comment, but more interesting to me is the fact that none of the large caps are participating in the rally. The only companies who are driving the rally and are beneficiaries of the rally are the mid caps.
Mid caps.
Not the small caps, the mid caps.
Yeah.
So like Hexo, Organogram, CanTrust.
CanTrust isn't really performed that much.
No, that's
It's only up $1.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. I wonder to what extent...
Some of those U.S. ones that got... the ones
well,
that
actually, even Acreage Farms is back up over $21. Now, that's just a... That's a miracle to me. I mean,
Doberman.
I guess...
Look at this, Doberman.
How interested are consumers in organic cannabis?
That's kind of catchy, eh? Doberman. That's like a...
I can say, Doberman, that I only buy organic cannabis. If it's not organic, I don't buy it. So for me personally, as an organic consumer generally, in fact, most everything I buy is organic. I'm always, that's what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in non-organic cannabis. How many people are like me of the entire mix of 100%? Probably not more than 10 or 15 or 20%.
When they made you, James, they broke the mold.
When they made you, Ed, they broke the mold.
Okay, there you go. A couple of mold breakers here.
Yeah, that's right. Oldie moldies. But look at this pipe, man. This is my new favorite pipe.
You know what? And it matches your Negroni. Why do they call it Negroni anyway? It's Popeye himself.
Going to be no Popeyes. That was an evil old witch.
Popeye was my favorite. You know what?
Popeye the Sailor Man. Popeye the Sailor Man. The NDI. Now we can look at my NDI. Okay. So tell you what, let's take a look at the Midas Letter indexes here, because we haven't had much of a conversation with them lately, thanks to the unreliability of Mr. NDI. So, and they're undergoing an adjustment right now for the beginning of the quarter in 2018. But look at my NDI screen there, Ed. It's, that's not mine. Okay, where's my screen?
I want to comment on the S&P today.
Sorry?
The S&P.
Okay, I'm going to kill my NDI here. Kill it and reboot it.
Can I ask Suzanne a question?
Is there more ice? That's what you wanted to know?
Okay, it's the S&P. And now look, this is very important here, viewers. This is about the general market. We've had this major correction. Come on. So there we go. So this was the sort of what I thought was a bottom, but then it broke. We had a major collapse here. Epic collapse. Worst month in 10 years. Now we've broke that narrow channel, which was extremely steep, and when we rolled over, and yesterday it looked like all hell was going to break loose, and then for whatever reason, everything came together and we had a nice move and we took out the previous highs. I gotta believe that we're so oversold. I'm going to make a bold prediction here that we're going to try and work our way to at least that breakdown level. Anyway, that's how I look at that. Any comments?
Nope.
No comments.
No comments. Is my NDI back up with the Midas Letter indexes, perchance? Damn it.
These aren't twist caps, apparently.
Probably not. Careful, you're going to hurt yourself there, Ed.
Midas Letter index? Okay,
let's go back to some...
let's look at the Midas Letter index. There's a great idea. I'm glad I thought of it.
Yeah. JC says, agree with Ed. If CGC can't move up, everything else is only moving on speculation of buyouts. Okay, that's
I think that's a fair comment.
Yeah. Oil, boom, says Kempo Consulting. Yeah, Reefer L, says Mr. Green Thumbs 420. Now I'm just reading everything here. RYU is a bargain. Oh my God. Respect your universe. Did you ever play that stock? It was such a disaster.
I happen to know...
I will never go near that thing again as long as I live.
Listen.
You got buried?
No, I never did. You never did. When you don't have any money, you can't get buried.
Well, that's the only upside of being poor.
You can laugh and everybody losing their money in the market.
Yeah.
RYU is interesting. I mean, and you know that there's a pretty strong clothing family involved.
The guys who own Leone's out in Vancouver.
Yeah. Marcello.
Are they still involved? I thought they were involved, and they were actually just the beard for the bunch of rat-bagging House Street promoters who slammed the thing around and then had their way with it and drove off into the sunset.
No, I think Mr. and Mrs. The mother and father were involved. They were very successful with Leone's.
Yeah.
And
so they stuck with RYU after the promoters
but you know,
were gone?
the problem is they have to keep diluting. I mean, you know.
Well, that's just it. That's why you can't just do a deal with the devil and then say, okay, the devil's flat now and we're going to drive on. The devil's ruined your deal forever. And barring a rollback, you know, what are you going to do?
You know, I mean, they were going to get.
John DeRose wants to know, can someone please explain what's going on with Heritage Cannabis? Pull up a chart of that one, why don't you, Eddie?
Well, you know what?
CANN.
I got God talking to me and asking me to pull up the index here, the big one, the big boy.
Why is he Whoa.
Oh, wrong one. That's the small cap. No, we want to go into...
Okay, pull up the chart on CanTrust, because we just had that question and we just agreed that we'd answered the damn thing, so ignore that.
Okay. Wait a minute here. Wait a minute. Just full screen. Here we go. That's the index. That's the big index, I think. Is it? I don't know. I'm lost. Okay. Back to the control tower.
Now pull up a chart of Heritage Cannabis. CANN on the CSX.
Okay. Say it again. CANN
on the CSX.
CNX for me. Okay, here we go. Heritage. 17 cents. Heritage Cannabis.
Yeah, okay. So if you look at that.
Wow.
Is that a consolidation at the 17? So 17 cents. How low did that get to? Boy, I could have loaded up the
15.
truck there.
No, you couldn't. 15 cents. It looks like.
Oh, okay. That's pretty thinly traded.
This doesn't give me a lot of it. Like I don't want to rush out and buy this one. I'm just looking at the chart. Mm-hmm. Nothing against management. Nothing. You know, maybe they're sitting on.
There's nothing. You know.
Like in the last couple of months, it's been just the paper just keeps coming out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a story that has a future ahead of it. I mean, still a shareholder.
Curaleaf just went across at 7.50. So like, yeah, Curaleaf's up 50 cents. Afri is up 4 cents.
Yeah.
Those big ones aren't participating. I wanted to put up the big chart of your made in the Midas Letter Big Cap Index. Shall we do it? Boy, I'll tell you, that Negroni's going. I wish I had a bottle opener so I could have some more.
$10 to get you 20 of that. Suzanne's going to bring you one any minute now.
Okay. Okay, here we go.
Big jump. Doberman says big jump by international cannabis. Big jump, boy.
Okay.
That's enthusiastic.
Cannabis, cannabis, cannabis. Here we go. Here we go.
CanTrust got a quoted U.S. ticker today, as per Alan Brockstein. What do you mean by as per Alan Brockstein?
Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay. Oh, look at this.
Oh, but we need some more ice too.
Well, these are chilled.
Are they?
They ain't going to be so. They ain't going to be around long enough for the ice to melt.
Right. Well, let's go take a look at the news flow of CanTrust, because we knew that CanTrust was applying for NYSE listing.
Okay, here we go.
It's only 428.
Change. Percentage change.
Oh, 2 minutes of bloopers. All right, you know, we got these crazy bloopers here. But before we go there, I'm just going to look at the news here on... Where the fuck did the investor map go?
I got to make a comment here, James.
Okay, lay it on me, Ed. There's the
Your Midas Letter major index here is up 1% today.
1%?
And that's following an S&P market that's up.
That's not bad. CanTrust provides business update. What's the S&P up?
The S&P's up, I think, 3%.
Yeah. Okay. So there's no
correlation.
Yeah.
Or maybe the correlation's happening in, like the viewer pointed out earlier, that there's the mid caps and smaller ones are moving more because they can. These big ones are in a bit of a torpor. Yeah.
Well, I think you know why they're in a torpor, because last couple of announcements hasn't had an effect on. On the big
I thought
ones.
better of it. I thought, wait a minute.
I see. You're having second thoughts there, right?
I'm not so sure.
We did a bunch of bloopers. Here's some bloopers from the last week. Leave us alone. We'll see you next week, eh?
What's going on here?
What's going on where?
Between...
Like they say, it's fine to make predictions, just don't say when.
Yeah.
You want me to tell you what I really think is going on?
No, tell me, make up some bullshit.
Okay.
Like you normally do.
That I can do.
Like you normally do.
You're just cracking yourself up over there, aren't you?
That's so funny. Whoa. I can speak in tongues. Cell only calls or something. A two brute? No. What is it? You know what? Next time I go to the water cooler and they ask me a question, I'm saying nothing.
You're not gonna put me out of my misery bed.
You know what?
Thank God. Take me away. Take me to the Undertaker. Bring out your dad. Bring out your dad. I think that
that's the natural gas ETF. It got to $250. Look at this. Sorry. Nobody was listening.
Please continue.
Right now, for instance, you look very happy.
Well, I'm an idiot. So what do you expect? Yeah, that's the clapper.
I've had the clap. Wait a minute. I'll take that back.
Swirling away?
Swirling
for the rainy day?
Buck here, buck there.
Buck here, a buck there, a buck everywhere. Old MacDonald had a farm. He-hi-he. You know what? Enough of this nonsense.